9-year-old Ohad Monder was captured on October 7, 2023. He and his mother were visiting his grandmother. The boy was one of the 13 hostages returned to Israel by Hamas on November 24, 2023. His mother and grandmother returned with him. For 50 days, two sisters, Daphna and Ella, were hostages of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Their mother was only able to hug them on November 26. A 4-day truce between Israel and Hamas began on November 24th. The militants promised to return 50 hostages, children and women, in exchange for 150 Palestinian prisoners. The hostages were released in small groups. Hamas set free a total of 40 Israelis and 18 foreigners. In exchange, Israel released 117 Palestinians from prisons.
We are working hard to get our hostages back, and in the end we will return them all. We will go all the way to the end, to victory. Nothing will stop us, and we are convinced that we have the strength, the power, the will and the determination to achieve all the goals of the war, and we will achieve them.
If an agreement to extend the truce is reached, according to the Wall Street Journal, Hamas could return at least 20 more women and children to Israel. At the same time, the journal's sources clarified that after the release of all women and children, the priority will be old men, and then the release of the bodies of the dead. Hamas rules out the possibility of releasing young Israeli men.
Hamas is close to freeing another group of hostages, Egyptian officials said, after a dispute over who is on the list delayed the captives' release on the final day of a 4-day truce. Israel confirmed that it had received the list of hostages to be freed and that it had notified their families. The list of people Hamas had planned to release included almost exclusively children, separating some of them from their family members, which held up the exchange. Egyptian officials said there are now 2 mothers on the list, the officials said. As agreed in the deal, Israel wants Hamas to keep families together as it releases hostages. From a publication in the Wall Street Journal.
The head of European diplomacy, Joseph Borrell, said that the extension of the ceasefire is quite possible and it could allow the international community to work on a political solution to the conflict.
To prevent Gaza from falling into the hands of uncontrolled armed groups that may destabilize the entire neighborhood, starting with Israel, the territory must be governed by a state representing its people. Israel's own security requires the creation of a Palestinian state in Gaza and the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem. How and when we achieve this will depend on all of us. Joseph Borrell, EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, from the publication in Financial Times.
Israel Defense Forces spokesman Daniel Hagari said that the military is preparing for the next phase of fighting and added that he hopes Israel will be able to bring home as many hostages as possible before that happens. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Shtanhelov, UATV News.